So, we were talking about this just a little bit before, but summer is coming to a close pretty soon. I'll be going back to school for my final semester, and it's funny because at first, I was expecting to have a very terrible summer because of the pandemic that's going on, but frankly, I've had kind of a wonderful summer. But I can tell you that there are a lot of people out there who definitely don't share the same sentiment that I do. Um, for a lot of people, it's been a very isolating summer, and I'm still seeing posts from people online saying how they just feel stuck and alone, and how they don't know if things are going to get better.
It's certainly a lot to take in, but I think I can understand where they're coming from, though.
No, it is, and I think especially for young people right now, it's a lot to take in
Hmm.
because I think we're still in the process of figuring out who we are and honestly how to be an adult or a better adult. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
there's just so much change right now that's taking place, and it can just be a bit overwhelming.
It, it can, but the one thing you have to understand is that every person and frog, really, goes through this at some point in their lives. This is nothing new. The circumstances are new for sure, but the idea that you feel stuck and alone or you just don't know where you're going is something that resonates with all of us. I've been a working actor for over 50 years, so believe me when I tell you, uh, change will come, regardless if you're ready or not. Uh, it can be hard to accept sometimes, but it's vital that we do so we can change as well. I know it's hard to forget our situations are temporary, but if we stand our ground and we keep pushing forward, we'll see that the storm will eventually pass.
You're, no, you're 100% right. It will pass. And speaking from experience, when I'm feeling stuck in life, something that helps me is trying to do something new. Learning something new always helps me. Um, just to take my mind off things, you know. And I get that like new is scary for like a lot of people, because they assume that they'll be doing something they've never experienced before. But trying something new doesn't need to like push the boundaries of what you feel is comfortable. It can be very simple. It doesn't have to be bold. It can be the most basic thing ever. Um, One of my favorite quotes. I heard it recently. It's from Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's from Uncle Iroh, and he says, "Life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not. So why not just like make it happen? Like try reading that book that you said you would a month ago, or try cooking something really simple for breakfast. Try writing something down. Try sketching. For all my animators out there, you need to be sketching every day. Um, but just like do whatever calls to you. If you're like me, buy that video game that you've always wanted to and get completely lost in that world. I'll tell you,
I'll tell you what.
I don't know why I did it. It's stupid. Um, but I'll tell you, it's gonna be kind of a long story. But anyway, uh, I played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 for the very first time it's like a couple years ago. Maybe like 4 years ago. Doesn't matter. Um, but at the time, I had nothing really going on for me school wise or career wise. I think I was just taking online classes, yeah. And, I was just kind of like waiting around, hoping something would happen to me. Um, but when I put in the first game, and this may sound random, but it's got a point. Um, when I put in the first game, when I put in Kingdom Hearts 1, and the credits are rolling, I got to the title screen, and I swear to God, I was met with, one of the most beautiful pieces of music I'd ever heard. Um, I implore everybody to go look up Dearly Beloved by Yoko Shima. I'm not going to butcher her name because she's fantastic. But look up Dearly Beloved. It's the theme to Kingdom Hearts. It's wonderful. And the composer who made it does some more amazing music herself. But anyways, I heard that theme and just instantly something inside of me started to change. There's something so pure and beautiful and honest about those games. Especially about the first one, too. I mean, they're ridiculous, don't get me wrong, and they're obnoxious, but it's also very magical. It's an experience that I can't really. I have no words. But I always thought it was funny that the enemies in the game that you're facing are beings literally born from darkness. And I think at the time I was going through a very rough time, and I had my own struggles with mental health, and I was battling my own demons. So when I would fight the enemies in the game, it was sort of therapeutic in a way. It was like just fighting my own inner struggles. That's exactly what it was like. And I believe that feeling that I felt at the title screen was like a sense of relief. Like, thank God. It was like a breath of fresh air. It like felt like something. It felt like some like force was like wrapping a warm blanket around me, and it was telling me I was going to be okay. It was hope. That's what I got from that. That's what that game gave me. That game gave me hope. But from there I really figured out I wanted to create art, or I wanted to be a part of art that has as much of an impact in the world as Kingdom Hearts had on me. So I transferred to a new school to learn animation, which is something I never had done before, but I was determined. I was determined to make it work. It did not work out. It did not work out well. My art teacher actually told me that I should probably, at the end of the semester in the spring, she was like, yeah, she was a very nice lady, but she was very critical, and rightfully so. And she just told me straight out, she was like, yeah, you probably want to look into another profession. And I quickly told her, I was like, oh, I already know. I'm going to go back to what I was doing before, which was acting. So I was fine with hearing her say that. I really didn't care. But, don't get me wrong, I'm extremely glad that I went, though. Because if I never went, I would not be at the school I am now. I wouldn't have the friends that I made back at the school that I learned animation at, lifelong friends. And I wouldn't know the people I know today. So, yeah. And, I knew that if I sat and I waited, and I went to the same school in town that everybody else did, nothing would happen. I know I really wouldn't feel good about it either. So, I believe strongly in the idea that you have to actively change your future if you are to succeed. Success is different for everyone, so I feel like you have to just keep trying, and you have to keep going, because eventually you get to the point where you figure things out, and you'll find what works for you. That story really reminded me of it reminded me a lot of what Jim used to say. He talked a lot about ridiculous optimism, which is basically just not looking to see where you're going before you get there and just starting the journey and going, This makes me want to share a story of my own concerning Jim. He was the very first person to come to me about
the song It's Not Easy Being Green.
Huh. Strange. I always figured you had written that yourself.
While I do possess elite lyrical talent, this was all our composer friend Joe's idea, But Jim had come to me in my trailer one day with some lyrics, and he wanted me to sing them, but, just to hear someone else's voice. And, he would bring me stuff like that to me from time to time. So I did the song, we had a good laugh, and I thought we were just joking around. But as he was leaving the trailer, I asked, Jim, who's this song for? And he just said, it's for you.
You mean you didn't really pick up that It's Not Easy Being Green is meant for you to sing?
No, I didn't. I didn't, because my thought was, at the time, who wants to hear a frog sing, I mean, this isn't Mississippi Swamp, it's Sesame Street. But I really tried to tell him that I didn't really have such a big singing background. Before the Muppets, I had done a couple of off-Broadway musicals, but, just as ensemble, because audiences in the 50s and 60s weren't really ready for a green lead. If you know what I mean? But, he told me just to trust his judgment, but more importantly, myself, and I did. I'm glad I did, because to this day, I still have people telling me how the song helped them. The song is about learning to be comfortable in your own skin and realize that you're okay because you're you. And the world really misses something if you're not there. And, the message really resonated with people, and, and if I had backed out of doing it, I wouldn't have been able to make such an impact on people, and I probably wouldn't go on to do such things as Rainbow Connection.
Kermit, I thought that was beautiful. I think, though, we can wrap things up there, if that's okay with you. But before we go, do you want to bring us home with some closing comments?
Oh, yeah, I guess the biggest thing I would say to anyone listening, and I guess particularly to young people, is to never be afraid to fail. There's a creative world that lives inside of all of us, just waiting to show itself, and it can be scary to share our ideas or, to chase our goal, not knowing where the road leads. But as the saying goes, you won't know unless you try. So lay down the groundwork of your goals today so that our achievements will become an inspiration of the children of tomorrow.
Thank you, Kermit. That was very well said. And thank you for listening. Take care.